and to a brand new experience that is Limitless. For those that do not know me, I will be spending a couple of minutes just introducing myself. And if you are here on Facebook, let me know. Let me know that you are here live. It's lovely to be with all of you in the Zoom room as well. If you are registered with Limitless, you can come into the Zoom room. The details are all on your email. Oh, what is going on? I'm seeing some things I shouldn't be seeing. All right. You're nursing a sinus infection. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, we're going to have a nice, cool, chill evening tonight. You are in Michigan and you are a member of Soul Space. Yes, you are. I heard that you had your reading with Jessica. I can't wait to hear all about it. Andrew is just down the road from me. Janie's in Chesterfield. Well, it's amazing to see you all. Um, Also, before I get started, if you are, well, wherever you're watching this, I have got a surprise draw going on for the next 2 days. And all you need to do to be in there is to share this video on your Facebook. You can invite your friends along. You can put it in your group. But just let me know. Just make sure you let me know that you've shared it. And I will pop you in the prize draw. Okay. And I will be going back. Use the hashtag shared, and then I'll know that you are in the prize draw. But I want to begin this way. We have all got busy lives. We've all had lots of things going on. We've all showed up for whatever reason with an expectation or another. And my duty, my job, my intention this over this next 2 days is to really help you understand that there is no coincidence to you being here. And I don't just mean in this Zoom room. I mean in life. I mean in this universe. I mean in this time. And when this happens, often some things come up. So why don't we begin just by centering and grounding? So wherever you are, your eyes can be open or closed. Please don't close them if you're driving. Keep them wide open. But just bring your hands to somewhere that feels good, grounding, comforting for you. For me today, that is in my on my heart. And just take a really nice breath in. Take a nice breath in. Come into this space and just feel yourself arriving. Just ask yourself what it means to be here tonight. And I just want you to access that part of yourself that brought you here. Because sometimes we sign up to these things, or sometimes we kind of have a intention or intuition to come in. And it's normally an aspect of us that's drawing us here. And sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes we have all the good intentions and then we're not here. So I just want you to connect in with that part of you that brought you here and ask it what it wanted. Ask it what it needed. And without even needing an answer, I just want you to bring your breath, your attention, your awareness, your love, your gratitude into that space. And this might sound a little odd, but I want you to invite in the other aspects too. So the other parts of you that, sometimes have the doubt, sometimes have the worries, sometimes aren't sure. There's parts of you that might just be wondering if this thing is going to work for you, if this is going to be a waste of your time. These are things that you've known before. And just invite them all in and just ask them to all be here and all be witness for you. Just imagine that they're all coming together. And you can ask all of those parts of you what it would mean to live a life that is limitless. And just let that knowing, those words, that symbol, that vision come to you. And I want you to bring in any intentions that you have. Just say them out loud or in your mind. And just allow for those intentions to start to bring you back into this space, into this time. And as you come back, I want you to pop in the chat what your intentions are. Just pop them in the chat, pop them in the comments on Facebook. Let me know. We had a little, unsurprisingly for me, we had a little Facebook glitch, and I know that we weren't live that whole time. So if you are tuning in on Facebook and you saw the first part and then the second part, hello and welcome. The Zoom room is open if you are registered in Limitless, and wherever you are, if you share this video, you will be entered into a prize draw. I've got some really cool prizes available for you, and I'll be drawing them tomorrow. So even if you're watching the replay, when you share this, you will be entered in the prize draw. Just put the hashtag shared, tag me if it's somewhere public, and I will be announcing the winners tomorrow. So intention tomorrow will go as planned. It will go my way. My intention is to connect with my intuition on a deeper level. Beautiful. Hello, Amy in the Facebook world, and you agree with me. Thank you very much. So let me start with this. I was in the car the other day driving along, and I started to think about all of those thoughts that come into our minds. You know, the ones that are like, who do you think you are? The ones that are like, what if nobody wants to listen to me? The ones that are like, but does anyone really like me anyway? The ones that say, am I good enough for this? Is this too big? Am I too small? Is this not gonna work for me? Is people just being nice and they hate me really? You know, we had those thoughts. Give me a one if you've ever had anything like that. And I was kind of sitting there and I was listening to some of these things that come up, and I was looking back on my journey. So, you know, for me, I've been an intuitive and I've been working with energy. And those that know me know I'm a right geek about all of the things. And then I took my psychotherapy diploma, and all of that meant I learned a lot about myself. And one of the first things that, no, not one of the first things, one of the most powerful things that I began to learn about myself was how some of these inner voices were really controlling me, guiding me, stopping me from doing things, keeping me small, keeping me off my path, shrinking me down, um, and really stopping me from becoming and from actualizing actually what I knew somewhere on some level that I was here for and that I was here to actualize. And this few weeks ago, I was sitting in my car and I was listening to some of these voices, and I realized something. I realized that one of the biggest things that shifted for me was understanding that these voices were there, or these, you know, these beliefs were there, these programmings were there, and that these last couple of years, I've been listening to them less and less. And even though I know that, and it's not been I've been ignoring them more and more, because who's done that? Who's been trying to ignore them, batting them away, like, nope, not today, please, not today, please. And then they just come back louder, or they come back in different ways, or they're like, well, I'm just gonna distract you with this, and I'm gonna make you do this instead of this because you're not listening to me. It was a case of understanding that I've been listening to them, I've been aware of them, but rather than those being my guiding star, yes, what we resist persists. While rather than those being my guiding star, I started to realize something that so many of these voices, so many of these understandings and these beliefs I had in the world were there and they were coming up uninvited. And, once upon a time they did guide me more, but actually I realized that they had a purpose, that they were there more. I used to think, tell me if you think this, I used to think that these voices were there to destroy me, to stop me, to hold me back, to like to just be that. But I began to realize that actually that they were like stepping stones. I'm going to give you an example. One of the things that I personally struggled with a lot um, over the years was expression, believe it or not. Um, Nobody wants to listen to me. I don't know enough. I'm not important enough. I'm too small to bring this through. Anyone had those? Give me a one in the chat if you've ever had those, or like thumbs up if you've ever had those kinds of thoughts. Um, Now, sometimes people think, no way, not you, Melissa, but yes, way, and yes, me, Melissa. And actually, it was as I began to take note of these things and really respond to these patterns that I began to notice that actually it was strengthening something. This belief of I don't know enough, guess what? That was taking me on a path of, well, what don't I know? What are the gaps in my knowledge? This thirst for learning that I've had for, since I was a child. This nobody's going to listen to me led me to finding and putting myself in the right rooms of people who did want to listen to me, of becoming more aware of my boundaries and who and what I'm sharing things with, of helping me understand, well, what do I not want to listen to? Yeah, what rooms do I not want to be in, and taking myself out of that. This thought that I'm too small began to lead me into this. Well, maybe it's not that I'm too small. Maybe it is that my mission is just massive. And of course, I feel small. And testing those things. And so this day, a couple of weeks ago, I was driving in my car. Andrea, I was coming to very near where you live. I was driving in my car, I was going up the A10. And I was like, oh my God, maybe my limits, maybe those fears, those doubts were the only thing that were keeping me limited and were strengthening my resolve, were helping me understand, was helping me become. This belief I had in myself that I can't trust myself. Do you know where that brought me? That brought me into learning my intuition, finding out what is my intuition, what isn't, discovering these different voices in my head. And guess what I teach right now? How you trust yourself, how you become, how you have this connection with the universe. One of the struggles I had was, you'll never believe this, trusting authority figures. I still do, have a real thing about being told what to do. And that led me into really looking into that, which helped me understand that when we have a resistance against authority, that actually that can translate into a resistance against universal authority, like God figures, the universe, the angelics, right? That our connection. And so today, if you're in the Facebook group, I asked you to identify some of these fears. You don't being told what to do by people that don't know what they're talking about. Yes, but how do we know? How do we know if we have this issue that I had with authority? To be honest, it was whether people knew what they were talking about or not. I'm like, I don't care, I'm not going to listen to you because you're not me. And I began to heal that. But what did that do? There's this cultivated this knowledge in me and this discernment in me. Yes, discernment is a big one of what can I trust and what can't I trust. If you read my book, you see the amount of questions that I have about things. I'm like, well, I hear all these people talking to me about the law of attraction. Amazing. And I hear all these people talking to me about fate and destiny. Amazing. How can both things be true? And how can both things be true for me? If my path is predestined, then surely the law of attraction doesn't work. And these things, which could have led me once upon a time to go, nope, that cannot be true. I reject all of that, led me along this path of, okay, what is this? I put my little scientist hat on and I went, let's go exploring. And I started to understand. And the truth that I landed in personally with that is that they can both be true and that they are both true. I'd be interested to know in the comments what you think about fate, destiny, and the law of attraction. Like if these things make sense to you, if you think that they can both be true. My experience is this. And this comes through the work that I've done through the Akashic Records mainly, which is your soul's library. This comes through my work that I've done with intuition, with the law of attraction, certainly through my meditation practices, and with, quite frankly, the hundreds of clients that I've worked with, that I began to see something that we all have this divine blueprint. We all have, and what I mean by this divine blueprint is we have mm, this should we call it a goal? We can call it a goal. We have this identity, we have this possibility, we have this potentiality, we have this possibility that we come down with, that we incarnate with. We're up there and we go, hey, I'm going to incarnate in the 1900s. Most of us came down here on this earth, I dare say, or maybe in the 2000s. I don't know, what do we call that? I don't know, I'm too old. We decided to come down and incarnate at this time in this place where we are with our parents, with our circumstances, with our traits, with our astrology, yeah, with our human design, with our soul plan, with our name, with our circumstances. I think that all of that in some way was chosen by us so that we can incarnate with this very unique set of circumstances. Why? Like, why on earth? Like, so for me, it was why on earth would I decide to come down as a Pisces sun, the floaty, yeah, the fish that don't just do that, they bash into each other, the floaty dreamular with a Virgo rising, which is like everything needs to be perfect. The two opposing signs, right? Like, why on earth would I do that? Why on earth would I decide to come down with parents that come from like the East and the West, these two opposing um cultures, if you like, on earth? Why would I choose to come down with, being the youngest in the family with an older brother? And perhaps, and I just want you to take this in, perhaps it's because there was some certain things that I decided that I wanted to learn. Shannon, how did I get Virgo Venus? Because it's inaccurate, right? Right. We look at these things and sometimes, and this is my beef a bit. Hope I don't lose you here, but this is my beef a bit with things like human design and astrology, and sometimes I hear these sorts of, well, I'm a this, therefore I can't. Yeah, have you ever heard that? Have you ever said that? There, I'm a Pisces, therefore there is no way that I can get things organized. Hello, Virgo rising. I am a manifesting generator. Therefore, I've just got too many ideas. I'm never going to get anything done. Right? I'm a 5-1. That's my lines in human design. Therefore, no one's ever going to understand me. So, what's the point? It's very easy to put ourselves in boxes. Exactly. But what if all of this was done by design? And what if it is that I've chosen to have these, for example, these opposing astrological mm, placements so that I can learn balance? What if I've chosen to have this really cynical mind, which I do, so that I can discover and test and be a bit sciencey to bring through the things that are etheric into the earth? What if the reason why you found that you don't trust yourself is so that you can really understand what it is what there is that is here for you to trust, in whom and in what you are trusting? This has just come in for you, so I'm going for one of you, maybe more. So I'm going to give it. Thank you for sharing, everybody. We all trust something. Let me ask you this. How many of you here feel like you don't trust yourself? Give me a 2 in the chat if you feel like you don't trust yourself. Or if you feel like trust is something that you want to cultivate. I'm going to tell you something. It's going to blow your mind. It blew my mind when it came through for me. We all trust something. We trust that voice in our head that tells us no. We trust that voice in our head that goes, you can't do this. We trust that voice in our head that tells us we need to stay small, that we can't do this, that we can't do that. We're trusting the wrong part. But goodness me, are we trusting it? We're trusting the part of us that goes, I'm going to pull a card and then I'm going to get it and I'm going to go, oh no, that can't be true for me. Oh, I don't know what it says. We're trusting something, yes? We're just trusting the wrong part of ourselves. Because this divine blueprint that we are holding and that we have is here not to just be like, here we go, there's your divine blueprint, go live it. It's there to go, here's your divine blueprint. You keep seeing these orbs that are flying around. Is anyone seeing them? Like I just saw one. Whoop. This divine blueprint that we have is here not just to be lived, it's here to be actualized. And how do we do that? By learning what to trust, by beginning to overcome, by beginning to transmute the things that weigh heavy, so that we go, hey, I had this theory. Guess what? It wasn't true. If you begin to think about it like a video game, makes sense. Yes, begin to think it like a video game. We start off and we've got our little backpack and we're going along and we're on level 1 and we're like, yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I've read the reviews. This road's gonna be a wicked, right? And we start going along and we're like, I know I've got everything. How do I know I've got everything? I've seen that other people have got to the end of this. Where do you review video games? On reviews.com. They're like, it was amazing, right? I know I can get to the end. I've seen my friend did it. And so we come with our little backpack and we start to move forward. But then through this, we have these chats. So the divine blueprint, if you like, of Lara Croft, yeah, is that I'm going to be strong and I'm going to be able to work out the puzzles and I'm going to be able to jump over the things and I'm going to be able to beat up the baddie and I'm going to be able to get to the end of this game. But she doesn't just start and press a button and go, whoopsies, I'm at the end. Let's all celebrate, right? She begins to move through this journey. And as she moves through this journey, she has these challenges. She has these thoughts like, well, I know I'm meant to be doing this. And then something comes up and you're like, hey, what I did over there doesn't work anymore. I'm missing something from my backpack. I need to go and find it. And then she goes on her little mission and she goes and finds it and she picks up the thing and she has to make sure her life force energy doesn't drop too much. And if she starts going too far in the wrong way, what happens? The life force energy starts to go, no, 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 no. And what do you do if you're playing this game? You don't go, I'm just going to keep going that way. I'm going to run out of my little heart thing. If you don't play video games, you'll be like, I do not know what you're talking about. And I'm probably bringing about 12 video games in one, so bear with me. But you know the little heart, like the little level of energy that we have, right? If we know we're not going to get to the end, then we might start to turn. But what do we do when that's our life? Yes, this is meant to be on my own page, Lynn. Lynn, if you want to share it into the Limitless group, you're more than welcome. You love Tomb Raider. Good. So what happens in our own life is we actually have this same thing. It's like it's not that it's meant to be hard. I think this is a psyops that has been entered into our brains, right? It's not meant to be hard, but it's also not meant to be easy. There's meant to be challenges. There's meant to be missions that we're here to accomplish. There's meant to be things that we're going to pick up and put in our backpack. And there's also times when our backpack's so full that we need to start to choose, is this still relevant? Is this still what I need for this level? Is this now something that I can go and feed the bear over there so he doesn't come and attack me rather than keep holding it in my bag just in case? We also have this life force energy. But for some reason, we've been led to believe that it doesn't mean anything. But what if that life force energy was just like Lara Croft with her little heart, or a big heart? And that as the life force energy is dwindling and going down, it's kind of suggesting that we're going in the wrong way and we need to stop, or we need to relook at things, or we need to go and make this challenge, or we maybe need to just go back a few steps and regroup. Because this life force energy that we hold is intelligent. And what I've discovered is the more I've listened to it, you know, that feeling of aliveness. Answer me this. Have you ever been in a situation where you know it was challenging, right? It was something we were doing. It was something like, you know, it was energized, it's energetic. Andrew, I'm looking at you with your gymnastics, and you've been there and it's been trying on your physical body, yet you're feeling like I could do this for days, right? You're like, yes, there's this, or you're working on a project, or you're reading a book, or you're having a conversation with your friend, right? And even though it's something that might be quite taxing physically, mentally, emotionally, the energy, the life force isn't dwindling. Have you been there? Give me a three if you've been there in any situation. That is your life force energy saying to you, yes, this is good. But yet, for some reason, we believe it needs to be hard, so we ignore it. I was having a conversation in a group I'm in the other day, and they were talking about spiritual practice, right? And we had to talk about what our spiritual practice is, and it felt like everyone was telling themselves off. They were like, well, one of them was like, well, I do this, I do chanting, which I really love, and I paint. She was like, and when I paint, I will paint for like 2 hours and I'm like channeling this painting, but I don't have a 30-minute meditation practice in the morning. And I'm like, what if your painting's your meditation practice? And she was like, huh? I was like, why can't that be your meditation practice? She's like, because I enjoy it too much. And I'm like, okay. Like it's nuts. Don't we do this? We all do this. And I'm thinking, well, what do? I don't sit and have a 30-minute meditation practice every day. It's not the way I do it. But when I go for a walk and I'm listening to the birds and I'm just there in silence or listening to some music, or when I'm taking 5 breaths before I come on alive, or when I'm in my yoga practice and I'm being very present and my life force energy is raising and I'm feeling this joy, this aliveness, what's that telling me? Is it punishing me because I'm not sitting doing the meditation practice the way that they told me I need to do it? I'm going to ask you this. What is your meditation practice that isn't a meditation practice? Or your spiritual practice, right? Someone was like, "Oh, I pull a card every day." And I'm like, "This is amazing. Do you enjoy it?" She's like, "I love it." But I don't do my breath work. And it's like, okay, maybe the breath work is like an extra, an addition. I do have to say, sometimes we do self-sabotage. So I'm not saying that it's not, because I want to say this. This came through when I was writing earlier, that it's not that it's meant to be hard, but I think it is meant to be disciplined. Exercise, mindfulness moments, right? I think that discipline is important because if we leave our brain to just kind of run amok, which is probably what most of us have done up until this point, it's going to lead us astray. We're going to end up scrolling on Facebook. That is not a meditation practice, even if you enjoy it. But do you enjoy it? Is it raising your life force energy? For me, it's walking to and from work. That's my little bit of me time and music. And it's starting to know that. And if you don't have anything, this is your invitation to go, okay, what is your practice? And you know what? That takes practice. That takes what is my connection? What is my, this is how I define this spiritual practice. Rebecca, even when I'm washing up and looking out the window, how I define this practice is this dedication, right? Now, dedication for many of us, that means some discipline. And I hope to say, because I don't like to be disciplined, but this discipline of where am I making this time so that I'm not in this energy, I'm not in this lateral energy, I'm not in this horizontal energy, which is, by the way, very addictive because it's there and it's heavy and it's real. So, where am I cultivating time every single day? It needs to be every single day where I am having that connection, a connection with my higher self, a connection with my higher mind, my higher wisdom, my guidance team, the universe, God, Mother Nature, divinity, the angelics. I trust myself, but sometimes the discipline slips more than I'm comfortable with. And you know that because your life force does what? How many of us feel exhausted most of the time, right? Let me know. And the 5, and you're like, I'm so tired. And what is that? Because I think that we have these two, right? I think that we have these two opposing forces, and it becomes a battle, and it doesn't need to be. We have this we have this divine blueprint. We have this part of us that is constantly speaking with us. It's constantly informing us. It wants us to actualize. What does that mean? It wants this soul. It wants this wisdom. It wants this experience. It wants this healing. It wants this um knowing of the world. It wants this expression, I think is probably a good word. It wants to be expressed. Yet this other part of us, the human, the ego, that as soon as we come down here, we get, and it turns on, and then it gets programmed by our loving parents or our caregivers and our families and our neighbors and our governments and our the collective. So this horizontal. Do you understand what I mean by this horizontal influence? So human to human, essentially. right? And this collective consciousness that the human brain feeds into. Yeah. So it's horizontal and then there's vertical. And so we kind of have this battle going on. And the more and the further away we go from this divinity, this divine blueprint is always full. It's always abundant. We hear we're in an abundant universe and there's abundance and there's no stopping of energy and it's all going to flow. Yes, we all heard that one. And then we're like, but I'm so tired. Oh, but it's so hard. Oh, but I can't do it because it's this part of us that's trying to make all the decisions. It's this part of us that's trying to go, no, but it's this part of us that's going, no, you're too small to do that. Whereas this thing never goes away. This thing is always there. And you can live from, if you call it your small self and your true self, is maybe a good way of explaining it. You totally agree. Yeah. The more we are working from our small self, the the true self is like, I can't feed you. I'm trying to feed you. And do you know how it feeds you? I'll tell you. It feeds you through inspiration. Isn't it interesting that the word inspire is to breathe? Yeah. I inspire and I expire. And we don't want to expire yet, do we? Yeah. We want to, this inspiration, it speaks to us through inspiration. It speaks to us through that life force energy, that feeling of aliveness that we're searching for. We think we're searching for meaning, we're searching for aliveness. It speaks to us in that, this intelligence. It speaks to us through that desire, that thing that I really, really want. And it also speaks to us through our fears because somehow that fear, as we overcome them, it's like it releases the block. Natalie said it on one of my reels that I shared earlier, that she realized in her Muay Thai practice that as soon as the block got released, well, then the law of attraction can come in and come through. And so the fears are, and when I talk about fears, it's not fear of going to the dentist, although that could even be it. It's that fear of speaking up. It's that fear of walking along your path. It's that fear of it's you could exchange it for limiting beliefs. Yeah, the things that I believe that I'm not. It speaks to us through this our interests, the things that we're drawn towards, the people that we're drawn towards. It even speaks to us through our triggers. I put a post about this the other day that I know sometimes I trigger people and it's okay because we start to understand how the outside world is responding to us and how we're responding to it. And it starts to help us understand, okay, this thing is activating something in me. And we begin to look within, what is it? There's something there in the divine blueprint that's going, hey, I want to be actualized. She's actualized it over there. So I'm going to give you a feeling that you're not going to like. So hopefully it will agitate you enough so that you go, okay, I'm going to do something about it. Right? So that feeling that you don't like, that fear, that doubt, that judgment, it's all it's not this, but it's this getting agitated. It's our divinity getting agitated, if you like, so that we do something about it. We think our divinity is this like, right? Ah, this beautiful, this peaceful, this like, it's amazing, but it has a fierceness to it. If you've ever had a dark night of the soul, you know that there's a fierceness to our soul. Yeah. This fierce love, this thing that's like, I'm gonna save you, and we're gonna live in this body, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do this thing. So what I've discovered through my many years, what I've discovered is that the more that we can come into this, the more that we can understand this, the more that this divinity begins to guide us, it begins to allow us to become these fears, if we put this in the driving seat, the fears become and the challenges become something like Lara Croft has to get through to go on to the next level. The life force energy becomes this guide of I am going like the hotter, colder when you play hide and seek. Yeah, warmer, warmer, colder, colder, right? Our intuition begins to work with us to say, yes, you are moving more towards this or away from this. Our guidance team, our spirit guides, our angelics, the signs and synchronicities that are going on in the universe begin to go, hey, yes, look at this. For me, that's what a sign is. Look at this. Pay attention now, which is usually pat on the back, you're doing really well. And then something happens. Um, I do a lot of contemplation. That's also my spiritual practice. I contemplate a lot, write things down. I go into the Akashic Records, I ask some questions. Um, and one of the things this came to me when I was really wondering about my place in the world. Because one day, and maybe I've always been quite ambitious. And that was not something I would easily admit to, right? But one day I was like, why do I feel like I've got such a big job to do in this world? Like, why do I get these opportunities? Or why have I got this desire? Why do I see myself being on stage and guiding a group of people? Like, why me? Who even gives a poop about me, right? And these were the questions I had. And I went into my Akashic Records and I asked that question, not even necessarily about why me, but like why? Why do we have these desires? And this is what I was shown. We have this divine blueprint. I see it as a star, as a six-pointed star. As I see this, I don't know, that's how I see it. And it emits a frequency. And in this six-pointed star, we have those desires, those talents, those strengths, those life moments, our human design, and all of this stuff. And it has also the fears, the restrictions, the kind of patterns, it all sits in there. And this star doesn't sit on its own. This star sits in a field, which you might know as the Akashic field, right? You might know as the universe, depending how you look at it. And everything's vibrating at a different frequency. But we're not alone, it's not separate. So I'm sitting there doing all of this, and I have thoughts, and I have wants, and I have needs, and I have desires. So this part of me is constantly firing out how they show to me as bubbles, right? Little bubbles popping out. And these things go places. Maybe they go to my guides, maybe they go to my angels, maybe they go to the nearest tree, maybe they go to a medicine, a plant, maybe they come to you. Why would they come to you? Because perhaps my desire, my want, my need can be satisfied by you, by what you've learned, by what you are holding, by what your experiences are, by your view of the world. And the only reason why my bubble would end up in your bubble is if you are vibrationally aligned to it. Yes, it's like a magnet. My bubble is not going to go to you if you cannot do anything with it. Yes, this makes sense. Give me a one in the chat if this makes sense. How does a bubble land in your brain? It comes through inspiration, it comes through desire, it comes through that moment of, I really want to reach out to blah, blah, blah today. Yes, all these ones, right? I really want to put this program out. I really want to learn. I really want to go and study about the origin of mushrooms. Like, where does that come from? One day you're just sitting there and you're like, okay. Maybe it's because you have that unique makeup that as you learn that, It's going to help the person that needs it. I bring that back to me and what my contemplation was and why I kept getting these thoughts and these things. I'm like, why I literally spent hours, weekends, weeks just immersed in learnings and really wanting to understand the complexities of a lot of these energetics. Like, who am I to do it? And the answer I got was, you're getting the bubbles because you have an ability, or you're well set up in order to serve that. And so every time you have an inspiration, I'd love for you to put in the chat some inspirations that you've had. Just something, just recently, or maybe even it was a long time ago. An inspiration that you've had, that you've wanted to put a course out, that you've wanted to talk about a certain subject, that you've wanted to go and learn something, that you've wanted to go and, I don't know, experience something. It might be, I want my retreat center in Bali. Who doesn't want a retreat center in Bali? One of my soul space members is literally on her way to Bali now. She was on a call with me earlier, and I'm like, I'm so jealous. If she comes back with a retreat center, that's what this. Ah, joining Soul Space was definitely inspired. Love you. What inspirations have you had, whether you've taken them or not? Soul Space was inspired. It came through, and I'm like, who's gonna join my membership? Turned out, opened it up, 38 people wanted to join my membership at that time. And it served things. And, a couple of weeks ago, some of you were talking about your experiences in there, and you were like, and it's helped me with this, and it's helped me with this. Had I not have done it, you would have found it somewhere else, because that bubble, you know what that bubble would have done? It would have gone, should not taken it. I'm gonna swim off and I'm gonna go to somebody else who is. Right? This happened because they showed me this as well, right? When I was asking. I was like, give me evidence of what you are saying, because that's me. My spirit guides are like, can you trust? Another story. And they showed me Einstein. And what's his story? He's on the bus. Literally, he's on the bus. And he's sitting there just in a daydream. Then suddenly he's like, oh, there's the theory of relativity. Now, if me or you got the theory of relativity while sitting on the bus, you, you probably wouldn't have been able to do anything with it, right? Because you're not the scientist. You don't have that brain. Maybe you do, but you don't have the brain. You're not set up. But if he would have gone, nah, that can't be for me, then where would we be in science now? I wanted to go to Egypt on a spiritual trip. I went last year with a shaman, and think about where that took you. Now, beyond Egypt, that you wanted to connect with Glenn. And then what happened, Moonlight? Then you became a hypnotherapist. I think you won it, right? Didn't you? I think you won a training. And now you've done that, then who are you going to help? I downloaded a full program in 10 minutes while waiting for someone on Zoom a few years back. How many times have we have something come? And I want you to be honest with this. How many times has something come for you and you've gone, no, not me. Not yet. Maybe later. Give me a 5 if you've ever done that. You get lots, but you don't know what to do with them. The only reason why you got them is because they're for you. And maybe you got them. There were things that I got. There were things that I was like, I am not ready for this. But if I'm going to take it on, what's my next step? Because unfortunately, that bubble doesn't always contain the full roadmap of when you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this. But if it's mine, and how do I know it's mine? First of all, the inspiration comes to me. And you get that feeling. You've all said a 5. We've all had ideas, and some are just ideas, right? But you know, when you get that feeling, when you get that sort of like, you can see what I'm doing in my body, this kind of like, yeah. And it sits there and it kind of like doesn't leave you alone for a little bit. And then you talk yourself out of it. So that's kind of level, that's clue number one, right? Clue number two, we start getting signs and synchronicities, right? We start getting, I don't know, we overhear the conversation, or beyond the algorithm, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, starts sending you like things that are really similar to that. You're in a coffee shop and you overhear somebody having a conversation. You are talking to a friend and they're going through the exact problem that your inspiration could fix. Yeah. You turn on Facebook and you hear somebody talking about being limitless, and then you're like, I had this idea about being limitless too. Now she's taken it. No, this is evidence from the universe that there's something going on here. Is this is manifestation, Andrea, but this is manifestation on another level. Because what we're doing here is we are aligning, it's a great question. We are aligning our divine blueprint. We are understanding that we are here and we are here for a reason. You all know you're here for a reason, or you wouldn't be showing up here tonight. Yes? We are here and we are here for a reason. I really wanted to go into the origins of humanity, but I'm not sure we're going to have time to do that now. But the chances of even us humans being here and the chance of us being here at this place at this time, there is no coincidence. When we align this with the inspiration, when we're like, I'm going to activate this, and we align this with the inspiration that comes through, and we're like, okay, I realize that this is mine and I'm going to take it. This is my inspiration. I got this for a reason. That vision I had in the Akashic Records was one of the biggest changes for me. Because then when an idea came in, then remember all the things I said at the beginning? It went through my discernment. Is it just my fear, my doubts, my limitations that are telling me no? Or is it now activating those fears, doubts, and limitations for me to overcome them? That might be step one. Yes, I do healing, right? So this might be nervous system regulation. This might be, rewiring. This like there's a million things and we all go through them. This might be this need to change. This might be getting myself out of a situation. This might be changing my friends or changing, putting myself in different rooms, getting a mentor, whatever it is, right? Something needs to change. This is step one to it. So it goes through my discernment channels. Is this for me? Yes. I pull the cards. The cards are like, go for it, divine time and sacred plan. Or they're like, take a step back. Yeah, I know. So I use my tools. Is this for me? We then start to understand, well, what is it? So what was the task? Those of you in the Limitless group, I got you to do a task yesterday, and some of you done it today. And what did I ask you to do? I asked you to think about those desires that you have. And I didn't ask you to make her affirmations like, I am rich and famous and thin and whatever. I said, it is possible for me. And then I asked you to repeat those, it is possible for me. Why? Because as you repeat them out loud, you will start to learn in your body whether you actually believe this is possible for you or not. Right? So I wonder if any of you who did that task, did you read them out loud and go, no, I don't feel like this is possible for me? Or I feel like it is possible. Yeah. This gives you another clue. And if it's like, no, I don't feel it's possible for me, but I really, really, really want it to be, gives you an idea about whether this is for you to pick up or to not pick up. I just want to read this. I've had ideas before and I get to do something with it, and then someone else. So I feel it's sometimes like a universal mail sent out to everyone who could do it. And if you act, it will stay. If you act, it will stay. And with someone else who can. Yes, I think so, and it can be a premonition. But also, like, there's 8.8 billion people on the planet, right? If one person takes it, there's probably room for two. And if you've got it, it's probably yours as well. And I really do believe, because I've seen this, I'm like, I have an idea, and I'm like, yeah, but like Colette Baron Reed's doing it now, and who am I compared to her? And it's like, well, she can't serve everyone. Not everyone wants to work with her. Like, if it's yours, right? Um, Shanna says these are more effective affirmations. Saying I'm rich tends to be rejected by the brain. This is exactly the point. And so that task I gave you of it is possible. It's two things. It's now beginning to rewire the brain because I do like to work with all the systems, not just the energetics. It's rewiring the brain. It's also helping you with your discernment. Does this feel true for me? It is possible for me to um have the spiritual business, which I saw a few do, is it is possible for me to have the spiritual business. Okay. So we're rewiring it and we're declaring it out to the universe. You will feel if you the as we begin to connect in with this divinity, which I think we're gonna have to do tomorrow now because we're otherwise we're gonna be here all night. As we begin to connect in with this divine part of ourselves and we start to understand its quality, this possibility becomes okay. This possibility then becomes a probability. And then guess what happens, right? I was having this conversation the other day with a friend. You feel like it's possible. I was having this conversation with a friend, and we were talking about values and purpose and meaning. Values, purpose, meaning. And us humans have this incredible ability to try and find meaning in life, right? We try and find meaning of something. So, say we see something outside of us, and there's a lot going on right now that we can see outside of us that can make us get really mad. Yes, if we let it. And so we see something, we see somebody behave a certain way, and that we start to create an understanding of what that means in the world. And then we're like, well, that means that everybody's horrible, or it means that I am not safe, or it means that the world is out to get us, or it means that whatever. And then that starts to create that starts to create our purpose. Well, if everyone's out to get us, then that means that I need to fight against it. That means that I need to protect myself. That means that I need to complain about it on Facebook, right? And that creates our actions. But if we can actually get really clear about our meaning in life, which is this divine blueprint here, this is why I'm here. Maybe to cultivate forgiveness, to reach an understanding, to have compassion, to balance the two spheres, the polarity, to discern my truth, whatever it is. As we get really clear on that, that's going to have more of an influence on what our purpose is. Well, now my purpose isn't to protect myself against the big bad wolf out there. Now my purpose is to move into the move into the impact that I want to create in the world. Now my purpose is to anchor the light that I know is available to me. Now my purpose is to find the expression that I know to be true that is going to have a positive vibration in the universe. Now my purpose is to find abundance in an industry where abundance hasn't been possible before. Right? Like we now my purpose is to heal this witch wound that I've been holding for so long to prove to me that it is safe to speak my truth. And what's that going to do? That's going to determine our actions. So this law of attraction works. It always works. It always works. But why has it not been working for you? Because we've been focusing on the wrong thing. We've not been aligning this divine blueprint, this who I am and why I'm here, with this life force energy that is constantly telling us, yes, no, put this in your bag, take that out your bag. move towards this with our inspirations that are coming in and this discernment of is this mine or is this not mine, together with the rewiring or this fear thing. Like I think we've been coming at fear all wrong, fear and limitations. Let's banish the fear, banish our ego, banish. What is banish? It's like, why are we battling against anything? What if these fears are stepping stones that are strengthening our talents, that are strengthening our gifts? If I'd have been born intuitive and been able to chat to the angels and to, read cards just like that, how good a teacher would I be doing that for you? Because I'd be like, I don't know. Like I can't teach you how to speak English. Well, I did teach my kids how to, but I can't teach you I can't teach you how to, I don't know, see the color of red. I can't teach you something that is innate in me, but I very much believe that this ability to be able to read cards and to connect in with the star beings and to have these intuitive nudges was part of my purpose. And when I look back in hindsight and I see all of the things that were stacked against me, I was working in a male-dominated industry. I had no time at all. Yeah, I was constantly under pressure. I had all of these things that could have been my excuses of no, but actually they were also invitations. Well, this is what doesn't feel good, but this is what does feel good. The way that Reiki came to me, and I was like, well, what is this hand woo-woo nonsense? And then I learned, and then I understand it was this building that then has created me to be the teacher that I am now. So, what are you holding in you that you are here to overcome? That your talents, that your gifts, because I am naturally intuitive, I just didn't know how to use it. So, my talent of being able to read people when I was working at Mercedes, that's what my bosses used to say to me, like, you make such excellent rapport with your clients. And I'm like, okay, that came naturally to me. How do you just kind of know what to say? And I'm like, mm, that's your problem. I just don't know what mine is, but there's clues because we have this thread, which when we look in hindsight, it's one of my gifts to be able to see these threads in people and to understand, like, okay, this is where we're moving to. And why is that a gift? Because I know that there's people here to help me. And do you know what? Every time that came in, do you know how many times I said no? I kept saying no because I didn't believe in myself. But as I was using these limitations and these limiting beliefs, and thank God for my grandma who taught me about hypnotherapy when I was really young and that my brain is not my boss, right? I started to strengthen the things that are now serving me and that are now leading me forward. And when we do that, this law of attraction thing that seems to be so elusive for so many of us becomes just normal because everything comes in a coherent line. My destiny, so we began this. You should see my notes. There's nothing to do with what we spoke about tonight. My destiny, yeah, my destiny, which is up here, is now led by my divine blueprint. And I believe there's a difference between fate and destiny. And I'm going to tell you what I think that is. I think fate is the small self, yeah, and that's guiding us. The small self going, you can't do this, you can't do that, it's not good enough. I was born this way, so I'm always going to be this way. And so then we live out our fate. Our destiny is like our higher path. And that is when we've got our fate and things happen and we stack upon it. And we keep coming into that, even though that's teaching me discernment, even though that's teaching me compassion, even though this, that's teaching me understanding, even though this, that's teaching me empathy, even though this, that's teaching me boundaries, even though this, that's teaching me unconditional love, even though this, that's teaching me expansion. Like, even though this and this, right? And our soul, this this divine part of us goes, oh, yes, yes, sign synchronicities. Yes, feeling of life force. Yes, drop of inspiration. And then we move that. And what do you think happens here? It doesn't just shut up. It doesn't just go, oh, okay, she's done it. It starts screaming and shouting like, no, listen to me. We've got this far. And that's our ego. That's our psyche. It's there. It's there for a reason. Like it wasn't meant to be like, oh, I'm at the end of the game. It's this challenge, it's this growth, it's the frustration when it comes when you can't jump over the canal. Or the canals in Tomb Raider, I don't know. When you can't go from one mushroom to the other in Super Mario. When you can't make that turn in Gran Turismo. And you keep on trying, and then you're like, yes, I mastered it. This is the best thing ever. How good is that when you've mastered something and you're like, oh, it's better than when you're just like, oh, yeah, that was easy. Scoring in an open goal. You score against the best goalkeeper in the world. You're like, ah, that's what we're doing. We're reaching this limitless self. Divinity, divine blueprint, who am I? What am I learning? What is for me, expression was a big one. Expression. And I look back and I'm like, look at all these opportunities I had to heal my expression. Look at all these people that tried to shut me down. Look at all these situations I put in when my voice was seemingly the quietest in the room. Look at all those times that I could have given my power away. And I did. And look at what happened when I claimed it back. Nancy said that's spot on for me. So what does happen? I'm going to take you through a thing. I want to take you through a thing. We've got 20 minutes. Give me a one if you want to go through a thing. There's something coming. I can feel it. I'm feeling it's like sitting there. Don't want to do it. Okay, let's do this. I want you to take a breath and inspire an inspiration. Take an inspiration. And I really want to feel that, I just want you to feel that this inspiration, this breath is an inspire. And I just really want you to welcome it into your body. And as you're doing this, I want you to give gratitude for this breath. For this breath is anchoring you into this time, into this exact moment in time. And then as you exhale, and then you take the next breath, you're anchoring into a new moment in time. It's never too late. After every exhale, another inhale, another inspire. And I just want to invite you to come into that sensation of this six-pointed star of which I spoke about. This divinity, this divine blueprint. And just notice where it is for you. Maybe it's high up in the sky. Maybe it's somewhere outside of you. Maybe it's in your body somewhere. Maybe it's behind you. Just notice where this six-pointed star appears for you. If you can't see it, that's fine. Just imagine where it would be, feeling, sensation, knowing. And I want you to start to get a sense of this six-pointed star, that it contains within you the challenges that you have faced. And just start to get a sense of what they are. We've had some examples this evening. Just some of the things that maybe when you were younger, maybe they came up in your home life or your work life, in your physical. Maybe it's a mental and emotional, just an idea of some of these challenges, these traits, these limitations, these fears. Maybe you can notice them sitting in one or two of these triangles of this six-pointed star, created of six triangles and a hexagon in the middle. And just allow yourself to breathe into that. Notice when the inspire comes into this six-pointed star. And then I invite you to begin to get a sense of one or two of the other triangles. And allow them to reveal to you some of the talents that you have. Those things that you are naturally good at. Those things, if you can't allow yourself to think that, those things that your friends and your family reflect back to you. And if you can't even do that, or if you want to add to that, those things that you admire in other people, the qualities that you admire. And just notice those triangles filling up with those things. And then you can bring your attention to another of those triangles and just allow it to bring to you those desires that you've had. Those things that have been calling you, that you've wanted to actualize, or maybe you have even actualized. It might consist of things that goals that you had, that you achieved in the past, goals that you're working towards, intentions that you've had. Or maybe even some of those things that you have been yet to desire. Then as you bring your awareness into another one of those triangles, you can ask yourself what has been missing, what's yet to be actualized. Just let it fill up with these. So now you have these triangles of your challenges, maybe your fears, your doubts. You have a triangle filled with your desires, your wants, your goals. Another filled with your talents, your skills, those things that have got you through. It's filled with the things that have inspired you, maybe even things that have triggered you in others and yourself. And just notice how they are all shining, and also begin to notice if there is a weighting So if one feels heavier or darker or lighter or sparklier or duller than the other. And again, this doesn't have to be a visual sense, just a sense if you were holding it in your hand. And then I want you to just ask yourself, with this star in mind, perhaps even focusing on the center of the star now. What was my fate? What was my fate? Again, it doesn't need to come with an answer, but just allow for that to be revealed to you symbolically, emotionally, sensationally, visually, auditory. Just a sense, no judgment. What is my fate? And then I want you to invite in this concept of your destiny, this highest outcome. Now, your destiny is not going to be disconnected from all that has been revealed to you today. Your destiny is going to be sitting here in the center of this star, taking into account, if you like, of the challenges and the desires and the talents and the goals, the triggers and the inspirations. Just get a sense of this and ask it to give you a sense of what that would look like or feel like or be like in your life. So if you were to live out your destiny, begin to bring to mind what that would look like, what that would feel like. So maybe you can meet her. As I live out my destiny, what do I know about myself? If I live out my destiny, what challenges have I overcome? As I live out my destiny, who am I serving? If I live out my destiny, who do I become? If I live out my destiny, who am I in the world? And as all of that comes to mind, start to notice what this does to your star. Maybe it changes shape, maybe it changes color, maybe it gets brighter or lighter or darker, heavier. Maybe it turns crystalline, maybe it moves closer to you or further away. Maybe it gets bigger or smaller. Just begin to notice. And then you're going to ask it for one thing. Divine blueprint. Give me one thing that I need to know today, in this moment, on this next breath, that will help me move towards my destiny. And as you breathe in, receive that inspiration. And as you breathe out, you can begin to come back. And as you do, as you start to bring your awareness back into this time space reality, I just want you to notice what happens to the star. Is it still there? Does it move? And then as you come back, I want you to write down what your next move is. You can pop it in the chat, you can pop it on the Facebook comments. If you prefer, you can just put it in your journal, your diary, on your phone. As you write it down, you are making it manifest. Okay. What's one step? I got the title of the book I didn't know I was going to write. Oh my God, I'd love that. Well, now you know. Now you have a job to do, Nancy. That's the best. So when you write your book, you must dedicate Limitless, my limitless life. Okay, so let me know in the chat um, what your next step is. I'd love to know that because then we can keep each other accountable here, like Nancy's done. Next Soul Space Coaching call, Nancy. I'll be asking you about that. Um, and just what you received, what you noticed. Did anything surprise you about that? Yeah, what surprised you? There we go. Um, Natalie got the word champion, which is meaningful to me. Amazing champion. So you can use that as an affirmation, as a reminder. Um, you can connect in with the Merkaba, the six-pointed star, as a reminder. I got the word glimmer, but that's a lovely word. I'm not afraid of being true to myself. I'm good enough for me, and that's all that matters. Amazing. Holding my fear to make me feel safe and move forward. Beautiful. Work on the goals and desires I have on my work plan. I know what to do. You do know what to do. I got advertise, advertise, advertise. Ah, my star was big and bright and continue getting bigger and brighter. I love that. I love that. And so you've had the guidance, and now it's a case of continuing to keep on moving from that place, from moving from the big self, moving from that divinity, moving from that divine blueprint. Because if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's um, the more we can align this, the divine blueprint, with our neurology, right? How our brain functions and works, right? The repeating thoughts, the default thoughts that come in. Your star turned into glittery gold and started spinning. So now you see that is a sign of a soul activated. It goes from being dormant, this dormant aspect of us, which for many of us doesn't come alive until kind of mid 30s, 40s, 50s plus, right? And it becomes alive. And then, but we're so programmed before that to be like, no, 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 I'm just going to get through. But actually, what we've been doing is creating stepping stones. But it gets to a point, it's like, no, I am coming alive. And so the more we can align this divinity, this divine blueprint, this who I am becoming, who I came here to do, with our fears and our limitations and our restrictions, right? Then they meet each other. And those fears, those limitations, those restrictions, they cannot exist, or they cannot rule, they cannot guide, they don't have as much pull as your soul. So it's more a case of turning this up rather than turning this down. It's meeting those fears, those limitations with the soul rather than this. Who knows that, right? Where we're kind of like one step forward, one step back, not going anywhere. I'm stuck, I can't move, right? That's because we're doing this. When we take the limitations and we meet it with the soul, and with this divinity and with this knowing and all of this stuff that we've spoken about, they don't battle against each other anymore. At least not often. I can't say that I never have a battle, an internal battle, because that's the journey. And this is why, we can teach it. The more that we do this, the less energy we put into the fight. This question I asked you, how many of us are exhausted? It's because the fight. We let go, we surrender. What's the surrender? Well, I'm letting my soul, like we spoke about earlier, the block is being taken away. Our fear is our only limit. And so when we can meet our fear with our soul, then we become limitless. It's no longer a battle. And then we use the tools, the law of attraction, the things like what is possible for me. It is possible for me to. And we use that. And I want you to do that. And if you're not in the group and you haven't heard me talk about the task, I want you to take your the things that you want and just write out, it is possible for me to. Maybe put some in the chat. For some of you, it might have changed now. You did that exercise. Did you see that? Is it just me? I just saw, did you see that? Oh, that's cool. The more that we speak about it, the more that we claim it, it becomes true. We hear ourselves saying it. It's possible for me to have a healthy, strong body. It's possible for me to earn money doing what I love. It's possible for me to grasp this concept about something. It's possible for me to come on and do a Facebook Live for 90 minutes talking about consciousness in front of the world. It's possible for me to build my Reiki practice. It's possible for me to learn new things. It's possible for me to have a loving relationship. It's possible for me to become what it is that actually we want to do. We work so hard on our work. Yes. We work so hard on keeping our house well and work so hard on doing this thing. What we need to work hard on is us. And it's not hard because it's amazing. We need to work hard. We need to have good goals for us. This is what I'm becoming because the small self is like outdated now, and it will keep running amok, right? If you think of it like kids, right? If I gave mom like, kids, you're in charge now. I'm gonna listen to you. Imagine, I mean, it'll be fun. It'll be chaos, and they will take the reins and they'll do all the things, and there'll be no sensible decisions made. Fine for a day or something, but then life needs to life, right? So we're taking the reins. And then we work on how, maybe we'll talk about this a bit more tomorrow. We work about how we're working with the law of attraction and how our intuition is guiding us into those moments. But it starts with this. Okay, I'm just going to read the comments. You got organza. Amazing. Maybe you're making little crystal bags. The star got bright yellow, then burst like a supernova. Amazing. I don't know if burst is the correct word, like bursting with pride. Well, the macrocosm, microcosm, we are all. I'm not going to go there. We'll be here another hour. I just kept seeing it shine and to keep that shining. Yes, it was spinning, amazing, bursting with energy, birthing the life force. Yes, it's brighter mirror, amazing. Makes sense that back and forth battle. When we put down that back and forth battle, this is when this happens. And well, it's not that happens. This happens. Because we go up and down, we're humans. It's not meant to be all of this. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Before we close for the evening, I'd love to know your biggest breakthrough. So biggest breakthrough, whether you've been listening to the whole thing tonight, and thank you all that have stayed, or you kind of joined at some point, or you're on the replay. Your biggest breakthrough that we have spoken about this evening. Um, whilst you're doing that, remember running a competition. If you share this video with your audience, tag people that you think will love it, you will be entered into a prize draw, and I've got some really cool prizes. So even if you're watching the replay, you will also be entered into the prize draw. I'll either do it on the live tomorrow or I'll do it straight after. Um, but yeah, you'll all be put in a prize, or just let me know on Facebook, not on here. Let me know on Facebook that you shared it, because that's where I'm gonna get all of the information. And tag me. Okay, so this video, tag me when you shared it, unless it's in a private group, and let me know that you shared it. There's orbs all around us this evening, aren't there? By the way, I pulled a card just before that little experience, and you got this, the intuition and downloads. So whatever you received, it's come from. And look at that, she's there, she's like in her head, but she's like this is where all of the energy is, and she's just focusing her mind on actually allowing this thing to come in and come through. It looks a bit like a phoenix, this energy, which is all about that transformation, that energy, that inspiration. It's all around you. What my job is to help you with is so that those bubbles that are coming for you, right, are clear. So we turn up the volume, if you like, or we open the thing. We dial up this the divinity, the shining, like some of you experience. It's brighter, it's lighter, it's spinning, right? It's creating more moving energy. My job is to help make those connections so that you get more inspirations, and to help you keep trusting that so that you're taking actions into manifesting them. How we do that? Through law of attraction work, through intuition work, through working with our cards and our guides, through being able to understand and differentiate the different voices that we have in our heads, through working with our body. There's 100,000 ways, and that's my job. And if you want to continue working with that with me, I will be giving you an opportunity tomorrow evening. That's not for tonight. If you're interested and you want to talk to me about it tonight, my inbox is open. Just message me on Messenger, is probably the best way. Apart from that, let me just read these last couple of messages. My aha was using the inner chatter as strengthening our gaps instead of allowing it to run the show. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, that's where you saw the star in your core, your solar plexus. Okay. Okay, I have got a piece of homework for you, and this is going to be an ongoing piece of homework for you. And this was one of my most transformative things. It's gonna sound really long, but it's not. Okay. I want you to start to get really present with what's going on in your brain. Okay. So every time you have one of those thoughts, and you know the ones I mean, the ones that you're like, shut up, leave me alone. Yeah, that you know the one. And I just want you to write them down. Don't worry, you're not manifesting them. They're there anyway. The universe can hear them because they're sitting under there. I want you to write them down um as they come, what they are. If you can do them in the moment, it's the most powerful. If not, just record them somewhere, and then when you get home, be like, at 6 o'clock, I'm writing down all my small self-talk. Okay? Can we do this? Okay. And then what you're going to do is this. You're going to look at that statement, and you're going to write the counteractive statement for it. Okay. You want it to be, you want it to feel true. So just like the affirmation I gave you yesterday, it's possible for me too. So it can be that. So it's like, oh, I feel so small, nobody will listen. You could say, it's possible that one day someone will listen, right? Or it could be that you challenge that, and it's, where do I have evidence that people do listen to me? Yeah. Or it could be, people will listen to me. People do listen to me. I can't tell you what those affirmations are going to be. But I want the important thing is whenever you have one of those thoughts, I want you to write it down as you hear it in the language that you hear it. And then I want you to find a counter thought. Does that make sense? So give me an example. If anyone wants to give me an example of a thought that they would like to switch around, we can have a just a little play with it. It's no problem if you're going to be late tomorrow. So it might be um I'm not experienced enough. I'm not you're unless you're not experienced, you've got no one's gonna listen, you've got no experience. You don't know enough. And then my counter statement will be I'm learning all the tools that I need. It's like turning the negative into a positive. Yeah. The reason for this is, first of all, you might be surprised as to everything that goes on in your brain. And there's a lot usually. And it gets you very clear on actually what's going on. But what we are actually doing is we're creating a rewiring, and you are creating your very own affirmation statements. I don't want them to be feel untrue to you. So if it's like, I'm so poor, and then you're like, I'm a millionaire, they're not. If it's, I am financially, if it is, I am, I don't know, um, I'm so poor. It's every day there's an opportunity for me to find my abundance. Yeah, yeah, that all agreed with that one. It was like, there's my, we're talking about the bubbles, right? And it's like, oh, what bubbles are coming into my head? And if it's like no good bubbles will come for me, I get all the shit bubbles. Just be like, the next good bubble is just around the corner. Okay, so just something, or we're not trying to BS ourselves, okay? We're doing a rewire. I'll put some stuff in the group, so we can work with that, and you can put it on a thread, and we can work together. So that's your homework. You don't have, as Simran's like, I don't have time. Um, so my limiting belief is I don't have time. The counter to that could be um I always make room for things that are important to me. It could be time is just a construct, or um it could be, this sounds a little bit left field, but let's go with this. It could be the more I know myself, the more I know, the more I dedicate time to the things I love. Right? So it doesn't have to be a complete flip, but it's something that's gonna start to rewire. I will put a thread in the group. So if you have not signed up, you need to sign up to melissa-amos/limitless. It will bring you into a Facebook group, and we've got some cool stuff going on in there. You do make time, but multitask really exhausts me. Well, as you find things that are more important, you will have the focus. So I'd convert that into something about focus. You know, the things that I'm interested deserve my focus, and I have all the resources I need to do that. Okay. Okay, we will continue this discussion in the group. I will see you all tomorrow at same time, 7:30 UK. And I will see the rest of you in the Facebook group. Thank you, everybody, for watching and for coming. It's been an amazing evening spending time with you, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.